Welcome back, golfers. Today I'm going to give you my 3 keys to a good finish in your golf swing. Stay tuned. Good finish in the golf swing is one of those areas I constantly am talking to my students about getting into and focusing on that when they're out playing golf. It's one of those areas similar to your setup. You have time to think about it. The whole swing to really just focus on, I want to get to here. And if you can focus on getting there, you can also think about it and post-swing check yourself that I'm in the right spot. I'm feeling what I should feel. I'm feeling balanced. I'm rotated. I feel under control and I feel powerful or athletic. Those aspects are really important when we talk about getting into a good finish. And I'm going to give you my 3 keys on the areas where I want you to work on, and then I'm going to give you a few things to kind of watch for in case you might be getting some things wrong. The finish tells you a ton about your golf swing, and if you're not getting to a good spot, sequencing it back or the domino effect going back, something went wrong in the process that got you there. So we're going to work you into a better position today. All right, let's jump in right now and let's talk about key number 1. And key number 1 is good footwork and good body balance into a finish. Meaning our feet are driving our weight towards our target. We're stacking our weight up on our lead side. And we're getting to what we call toe up, knees together, belly button to the target. So what we want to see is the whole body is aiming towards our target. We don't want to be finishing out in front. And by getting our body fully rotated to our lead side, it allows us to generate all that energy that we've stored up and push it through the impact and then stabilize into that finish position. So how do we get there? So we've talked about this in how to fire your glutes in one of my videos. Another one that was really good on talking about how to use the rotation right in the footwork is the hip tilt. And I talk about footwork constantly in my videos, so you guys check out pretty much any of them. We talk about footwork constantly, how to move your feet, another good one. So when we're driving through or pushing energy through at impact is where, this is where we want to be at impact. Hands are on the inside part of our left leg, chest is pressing into the hands, nice little bow in the body, and then that allows us to just keep rotating through. So let's talk about where we get in the footwork. So the footwork, we're going to get to the point where our weight is stacked into our left heel or driving down through that ankle, this left side or your lead side. This foot, this toe is able to come up through the impact zone. The back toe is nice and light where you could actually pick it up. We don't want to be pushing weight back. That's putting a brake in the body. We want to be letting that weight come all the way up. You can pick it up, no problem. Hips are towards the target and our body's just facing there. So at the same time, we want good body balance, meaning center of weight is in between our shoes. When we get through it, I want to see half my weight on this side of my body balance point, and I want to see the other half on this side. What I don't want to see is out here onto my toe side where you're going to feel a lot of toe pressure and a lot of pressure up through, especially the lower part of that lead leg, and you're not going to be rotating through all the way. Those hips are probably aiming out in front of you rather than down your target. So let's watch me hit one right now and just kind of watch the footwork and watch the finish position, how it just keeps driving to the finish. And I can pick up that back foot, stabilize on it, no problem. All right, key number 2, and this is one when I'm walking down the driving range, watching people hit balls, this is something I see constantly in golf swings, and that is a poor elbow position. If we wanted to get in a good position in our swing, we need to get into a solid elbow position where that shoulder line just runs into that elbow. So it has a nice higher elbow position. And what I typically see is a lot of golfers end up down here trying to guide the club. And we'll talk about faults of how the body gets with that elbow position. But that elbow position is always really low and it pulls the body out of posture real easy. We want to stay on the same spine tilt that we started on. There's our spine tilt. When we get through maintaining that spine tilt, and we want to see that elbow working across the shoulders. Now, what I typically have seen in most amateur golfers, they get to the finish, their elbow's here. So what is that indicating? A low elbow position. So low elbow position could be an alignment issue, and you're having to use those arms to release the club more. Otherwise, it could just be you get to the top and you just want to release early off the top. But all of it really translates to you're using a top-down sequence. You're using your arms and your shoulders to change the path of the club rather than your core of your body, your hips, that lead shoulder to rotate you through and more in front of your body so that elbow is nice and high. So if you're getting into that low position, practice trying to get high. Easy drill you can do to do this is just practice some shorter little pitch shots and get the extension on this side. Also, make sure you throw down the alignment stick so your alignment is parallel lines with your path that you're trying to swing on. Once you get down that pitch shot, you're getting good extension here, then work longer. So you get 3/4 shot up to the arms, feel that elbow not down here, it's up off the side with good extension. So it's not going to be straight with that lead arm, it's going to be slightly bent, and that will just bring us right into continuing up into the finish. Letting the hips press forward, footwork like we talked about, forward, and then we got that shoulder working across at the finish. So another place that I see a lot of amateurs get into is poor rotation in their shoulders when they finish. You might see their shoulders finishing here where it's actually out in front. It's not fully rotated around. Really, when we get to the finish, we should see our shoulders passing our hips at that full finish position. It takes a little bit of flexibility to get there, but most of you can do this. Shoulders should pass the hips. One of the reasons might be that your head is just staying down too long. If your head's staying down too long, it's going to get to a certain point where that shoulder has to pause because your flexibility in your neck is only so much. And that shoulder ends up getting stuck and you're going there. The other reason why you might be leaving that shoulder open is because you're trying to hold off the face of the club so it doesn't over rotate and hit everything back behind you, hit those hard hooks or pulls. And that could be something that's happening on the downswing, that the club's getting too shut, grip might be too strong, position at the top, which we've talked about in past videos, might be too strong. Check out your setup, check out your grip. That could be definitely, this position, the finish where the shoulder's not fully rotated through, definitely could be a shut club face position. So we're still focusing on that elbow, but another area where I see issues as well is when you get to the finish and your arms are really close to the body. So you can see right there, nothing's coming off that body position, its arms are tight, and that is an indication of early release. You've released too much at the top and casted, or you've released too much at the bottom. You probably got into a chicken wing position, and those arms, because you can only release once in the golf swing, when you get to the finish, you probably end up, if you watch yourself, you probably end up in this funny chicken wing position at the impact, and then arms are real close to the body rather than extended at the finish. And that's another place where we should practice taking up maybe some pause drills in the backswing and just work to a nice extended finish, making sure the body rotates. So the last one I'm going to give you, there's a lot of different reasons why, but the last one I'm going to give you is why you also might be getting into a low elbow position, and that could be that you're not finishing your golf swing, which tells me typically that you're swinging very handsy, which is an effect of the club face typically being in an open position or an inside position on the way down. And because of that, the body has to brake, the body has to slow down, you use your hands to swing, and then you end up with a low elbow position, and typically your body's not fully rotated in the hips. You'll see those hips out to in front of you rather than all the way around, and that's typically your body just trying to say, hey, you gotta do something to get that face closed. So check your grip on that situation, check your wrist position. We've done videos on that as well. Wrist position needs to be nice and flat when you come into impact, not cupped and open. We shouldn't be seeing the backhand of that backside of that logo. We should be seeing that knuckle down when we get into impact. That lead edge of that club should not be up, and that could be also hip tilt coming under. So that's a lot of cause and effects things to look at when you're focusing on that elbow position. But really, elbow position, you could just think about where you want to get it to. Just focus on where you want to get that elbow. We want it nice and high. We want to get that elbow across the chest so it's right into that position, and that club head, that shaft will be between the eyes. Is pretty neutral position right there and all the way through. So we want to hit that position when we get to the finish. All right, made it to my last key, and my third key to a good finish, and that is positive spine tilt, especially at impact. But you should start with positive spine tilt, maintain positive spine tilt, drive to a good impact position with positive spine tilt, and continue it all the way through. And let's talk about the reason why you need positive spine tilt. So in the golf swing, if I put a chair up against my butt, what I want to see is that my hips are able to maintain that position all the way through to the finish. What I don't want to see is my weight shoving forward, early extending, hips tilting underneath, glutes probably firing too soon before you come into impact. And you can see when I get into that position, early extension, watch how vertical I end up. And that's typically caused from a top-down sequence. So you're there, you go there, you can see my body is now in a neutral or even negative spine tilt position when I get into impact. If I'm in that position right there at impact, well, now when I turn and move to the finish, I'm going to be very vertical in my finish. So if you're finishing very much like this or even out that way, right shoulder or trail shoulder is higher than the lead shoulder, well, you're probably in a negative position at impact, and you're just carrying it to the finish, ending up vertical or negative in the spine tilt. And that hits a lot of shots out in front of you, a lot of blocks. So what we want to see is when we get into impact, we have positive spine tilt right there. Spine's going ahead of the golf ball. And then as we drive from that position to impact, because my body is in this nice little bowed position, what I call body bow, we have this nice body bow, I can continue that line, and now my hip's gonna be back behind me. It allows you to stay in that postured position and keep that spine tilt longer through the hit than you would as if you're in a negative and you end up vertical like this. So easy practice to drill to do. There's an old one drill that a lot of golf coaches have given. Just put the hand on that club out in front of you, kind of like that, and then we just work up, work under, work up, work under, and just going to that impact position will now put you in the right position to work to a good finish position. That's a good place to start. The other way you can do this is stick a chair up against your butt. Go to where you think impact should be, and then just work to finish. You're gonna feel the core engage when you're doing this. There it is, work to finish. That hip will stay back, and then from there you can progress and keep your butt up against that chair, and then just work to finish. If you're keeping your butt against the chair, you're maintaining spine tilt, and you're gonna find that ball in the center of your face more often, more consistently. You'll have control. And that's what all golfers are looking for, good control. So when you're out practicing, focus on your finish. When you're out playing golf, even more important to get set up, look at where you want to hit that shot, get set up to it, and just say, I'm committing to my finish position. Get set up, hit the shot, and just commit every single time to a good solid finish. Hold that finish. Watch that shot in the air. Keep that hold until it gets on the ground. Once the ball hits on the ground, you can let it go, but try to always commit to that finish position. So golfers, use those 3 keys. Make them part of your routine, make them part of your swing. Focus on that finish while you're out playing. It's super important. If you focus on the finish, I guarantee you're gonna see some shots drop off your score. Remember, if your feet aren't working, your swing's not working. I'll catch you guys next time.